We'll get her a bat. She can just come in and out as she pleases.
Heck yeah. I'm good with that. Hi, Lee.
How you doing?
You guys ready? Paul? Move. Okay, I'd like to call to order tonight the Cincinnati City of Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for August 22nd, 2019. Roll call, please.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr. Here. Board Member Alan Calloway. Here. Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen is absent. City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here. Announcements. You guys got anything in this meeting? I've got one, I believe, for this meeting. Just wanted to, everybody knows about the instance we had here, what, a week and a half ago, that active shooter incident. And we're just going to briefly just, what I would like to do is just acknowledge the first responders and how well they handled that situation. You never know with the training that you have until you need to use it, right? And I'm sure Chief can talk more about it and things, but it wasn't, you know, obviously our police department did a bang-up job, but Chief Combs was in staff meeting last week and acknowledged the nice, or not the nice things, but the necessary things that Chief Tremaine and EMS Director Clark also contributed to that instance. It could have been a lot worse. Things could have went a lot differently, and so I just want to commend our first responders and their teams for how they handled it, and we're thankful that you guys get the training that you need because it's for our safety. So thank you.
Thank you.
Please pass it on to your respective folks too, and your departments has helped. And
Mayor?
yes, sir.
The owner of that building was very complimentary. He came to see me.
You know, I correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but it's the first time I think we've ever had to respond to that establishment.
It's the first time I'm aware of it, yeah.
That we're aware of.
Here, right, something of that caliber. We hear it all around, and everybody says, you know, can't happen to our city, but it does. It's close enough, and it's here. It happened, but with the response that we got from our officers getting there that quick for that kind of call, we're just very fortunate that we didn't go into a bloodbath. But yeah, we caught the person, and everything was handled very professionally. So,
Well, we thank you for it. So thank you. Good point, Paul. I didn't get to talk to Bruce. Okay, if no other announcements for this meeting, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Just going to let the board know, next week we'll be doing our yearly pump testing on 5 pieces of apparatus. Make sure that all our fire pumps are in order and operational. We do that yearly. Also, we do have our engine in the shop. We had to have the radiator replaced, so City Garage is doing that now, working to get that done.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. Police Chief Don Combs.
thank you, Mayor. I just want to update the board on our hiring process. I gave you a copy of what we're doing here. We obviously wanted to hire the best possible candidate on the field here to maintain our integrity for the city of Lawrenceburg. So we went from 26 applicants now to our final 8. And we are now to our formal interview. We've done everything above that. And that's going to happen a week from today. Next Thursday, we're going to do all 8 of these people. Then we'll go down to the last 4 candidates. So we want to keep this integrity here of the hiring process for Lawrenceburg, because we don't want to make it that easy to get in the Lawrenceburg Police Department, because we have a place to where everybody wants to come and work. We want the absolute best possible candidates we can get, and we've got some candidates in here. So we're at that point, and it's very exciting. So we're within a few weeks of making this hire.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is we get to bid up for the clerk for Larry Seaver's position. So that's been up, and that's going to be up for a few more days. And then we're going to put a part-time clerk in the paper. One of them is leaving here real soon, just for personal reasons. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Larry was telling me the other day, he's got, what, 50 years in law enforcement?
Total of 50 years from when he started in Roar dispatching and then policeman and then this job here.
That's
So.
unbelievable. Great. All right. EMS Director, Rick Clark.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple things. I handed out the monthly stats for July, and in July we had the third most number of runs in a month in our history. So we've been really busy with that and the staff turnover. Part of that was 12 backup runs to other communities and 7 intercepts. So we have been pretty busy. But we have been able to update our education too. I wanted to get started on our recertification. So all of our staff have either taken the advanced cardiac life support and pediatric advanced life support, or they're enrolled. Also, we have 2 interviews tomorrow to fill the position that George Ross will vacate at the end of this month. So we'll hear more about that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. I have no new business for this meeting. And Board of Works? Okay.
Your Honor, if it pleases the Board of Works, then I'll make this announcement, and we'll also vote during council. But I talked to Scott Rich, our union BA, and he indicated that the union's position and their choice is to do nothing at this time in regard to the pension change. That will result in us paying an additional 5% premium. We've already gotten our first bill for that. So that is the union employees' choice, and Scott Rich confirmed that with me over the phone today. He indicated that we would revisit that again either at the end of the year or during next contract time. Of course, we talked about this. We had a meeting with the employees. So after speaking with Mr. Rich on the phone today, it's clear that that's the will of the employees. So I would just ask for a vote to approve the additional payment that we have to make.
Okay. Any questions on that, guys? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the decision for the IAM pension 5% penalty.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll carry that over to council. Okay. No other new business, old business. Mike Clark, Ludlow Hill Street Rehab change orders.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I've got this included in the packet. We basically got the project completed minus our punch-out items. Right now, we do have 3 change orders that we'd like to get approved tonight. The first was for mailboxes on Hardwood Ridge. We relocated them when we put the curb in. They were in such bad condition, they weren't fit to put back up. So we replaced those with just a standard plastic mailbox. The second is for some wedge and leveling asphalt. That was one unit in the bid that was a unit cost. We had a good estimate. We actually come pretty darn close to it, so we've got that one. And then the final one is for driveway approaches, which includes removal, dig out, replacement. In the bid, we had it going to just the right-of-way. I think you guys directed us on Hardwood Ridge to go ahead and take it back to the first joint, so that's what we did. This should be everything. The only thing that we could see, and I think we're gonna come out all right, is on the thermoplastic striping. We've done some additions and takeaways, and we gotta measure it all up now, but I think it should be about a wash on that.
And
So-
just, Mike, for the information, this isn't the first time we've done mailboxes. I think we've
No.
done it on other streets, so, okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted everybody to know that. I'd like to make a motion to let staff, or
I'd like to say something first. I take it that this is a misprint, because it says the total is $2,400, but when you look down, the total amount for change order number 3 is 3-2637.
No, that is misprint. It is 24 mailboxes at $100 each. So yes, that is, I'm glad you got that. That is a misprint there.
Because I wasn't sure if that turned into 32,000, you know. over
Expensive
2,400.
mailboxes, wouldn't it?
We got the
I
good
want
ones.
some on my screen.
Yeah.
No, you are correct.
Okay.
That is 2,400 total.
And Mike, I have another question on change order number 5.
Okay.
The total cost is $33,692. And when I read through here, it talks about the sidewalk, transition to a sidewalk grade. I drove over there, and the only thing I saw was 2 pieces of concrete that was replaced in that sidewalk.
Was that on Wilson Creek?
Yeah.
Now, there was actually almost 2 driveways and walkways at that.
Yeah, there was, I saw the driveways, but it mentions sidewalks, sidewalk grade. And I only saw 2 sections of sidewalk that was replaced. The rest of it was the old sidewalk.
I know this is something that we marked. We had the engineer go up and measure what we marked to generate this, so we were all on the same page. I do know that the units that are included on here were measured by the PE, and they're the ones that generated the actual change order form.
Which was it at the last 2 homes on the right-hand side?
It was right in front of Otto Kelly's. There was 2 sections of concrete that was replaced and put in, and it does kind of slope up.
It would be at the last 2 homes, that,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
both
yeah,
those driveways,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
and the sidewalk.
Yeah. And, but I was just curious, I mean, how much that 2 sections of sidewalk cost us to
You're gonna say the vast majority was for the actual approaches themselves on removal, replacement.
question.
so what you're saying, Mario, is that the sidewalk's probably in the driveway?
In the drive.
It's removal?
Correct, correct. You would take that section of the walkway, and like if the driveway wasn't even there, it's all one unit, those last 2 houses.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this change orders.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Mike, is the Millhouse Market Stormwater Pump Station.
Yeah, and I had a map in the packet. I put a rate sheet from Allied in front of you. This is the same company that we have the maintenance agreement with, you know, if we need a pump to be brought down or whatever. We're having some issues with the gates not working like they're supposed to. We asked them to create this rate sheet to come down, do a complete thorough inspection and troubleshoot some of the issues that we have, and then write a report to generate a written scope of what improvements we need to make. Now this is a sidebar, but there's also an Okra grant that has just come out and been available. If we can get on the ball so we can submit before October 4th, we could possibly get 80% of whatever the end project is covered by that grant. So I am asking that you would approve this so I can go ahead and get Allied down here to troubleshoot some of the conditions we're dealing with.
So you're saying the Okra grant would be for 80% of the scope of the fix?
Yeah, up to, I think it's a maximum of 600,000. Now, I'm not saying this project is that's just what the grant is for.
Okay.
I really don't have a good feel for what's gonna be included in this proposed project until we get this phase done.
Okay.
And this is over by Tractor Supply.
Correct.
Yeah.
This has been a problem for quite a little while.
Well, it is, and even if everything works right, if the river's up and we have a 3-inch rain and we lose electric, we got problems. If the river's up, we have a 3-inch rain and we lose a pump, we've got problems. The gate on the wet side is holding, but not completely. We need to figure out why it's not sealing off completely, because the pump will just run and run and run.
Similar, Paul, to remedial, the problem they had with that sluice gate over there.
Okay. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve this firm to come in and take a look at the, evaluate the stormwater pump. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Any other old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Council, as soon as we're seated, please. I didn't know if he was here or not. All right, I'd like to call the order of the City of Lawrenceburg Council meeting for August 22nd, 2019. I'll stand for the pledge, please. I'm waiting on you, old man. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey Connie, at my church, when that happens, you gotta buy pizza for everybody. All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilperson Tony Abbott is absent. Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Here.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen is absent. City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
City Court Judge Joe Johns.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, I got a couple announcements before we get into the board announcements. Saturday, as I think I've seen 3 of yous down there anyway, but Special Olympics had their fire truck pull. I think it was their biggest turnout yet, I think, for teams, if I'm not mistaken, according to Greg. He presented the city with a Special Olympics Indiana, Ripley, Ohio, Dearborn Counties presenting sponsor appreciation award to the city of Lawrenceburg for their support of the fire truck poll 2019. So I accepted that on the behalf of the city and the rest of you all up here. We'll get that hung. I think we have another one over there, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll get that hung, and it was a good event, great event, actually. And actually, I believe the rain held off, and they did pretty well. They were happy using the venue over there. They said they'll tweak it a little bit next year, but it went really well. It was fun seeing everybody there that were polling, and it was a good moneymaker for them. So the next item is just want to let you know that, and I'm sure a bunch of you have been approached. We had talked earlier, I think, in the year actually, about trying to get some costs put together for a sidewalk project, possibly up on Ludlow Hill, especially trying to get to the park on that side of 48. So we're trying to get those costs put together. We'll come back to you as soon as we get something signed and laid out.
Them costs, will they have to have any property acquisition, or do we already have easements, or do we know?
We don't know. And
That's what you're gonna find out.
Yes, I want to get a pretty true cost of what it is. Maybe we do it in phases, like a phase one could be from the park to Village Drive or the BP station. Phase two maybe be from there on down to, I don't know, Randy or wherever that street is that you live on. But anyway, I just want to make you aware, because you may get some people asking about it. I've had some calls, so. And then the other thing is, we had talked about the community center project at the last meeting, the grant. And I told you I'd go and find out what they had available to contribute to the overage. If you remember, the overage was $190,675. What they have available, and I saw their account, they have that they can contribute would be $60,780. Which would leave us a balance of $129,895 for the city to pay to get that project completed. And I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of those numbers. We'd already approved it. It just, I was gonna go back and figure out what they were able to contribute to help with the overages. So, I think Aaron was at that meeting as well.
Can you refresh our memories of how much the grant was and
Yes.
everything?
The grant was a $279,760 grant, which we had to match, which we took out of the account at the community center. They met that. That was a 50% match. So the project was $560 or something, we thought. The project real costs came in $190,000 above that. So that's when the overages came out. So that's the update on that. And then the other thing is, you all know we've been working on budgets, and what I'd like to do is have a budget workshop like we do every year before we have to post it. Give you guys time to see it, look at it, ask questions, if we need to change, whatever. I've asked for the budget books to be in my office on the 9th. We will get them to you on the 9th, and expect a budget workshop on the 16th before council meeting at 4:30. That gives you guys a week to look over it and make your notes, talk about it, whatever you want to do then. And then we can talk in open meeting on the 16th prior to the council meeting. So we'll go ahead and get that posted if that suits everyone. Let me see, anything else?
Mayor, can you, you gave me a little update
Yes.
on the sitting area. Would you mind giving the public, I've been getting asked questions on the top of the levee up there.
Oh, yeah, what I know is that, I think everybody's familiar, you know, where everybody now drives up the levee behind the event center. it's become a more of a safety concern because a lot of people are using the trail, which is a great thing, either walking, riding, whatever. A lot of people coming out of the hotel because the hotel's full quite a bit. So the long-term plan was to try and figure out an alternative for people to be able to drive up and be able to get out of their car if they want, or sit in their car and look at the river, okay, because that's what they do there. It's not designed for people to go there and park for eating at the Riverwatch. So there's a small spot at the top of the parking garage, just near Ivy Tech. That's that project, I think, was brought forward maybe a couple months ago, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay. And where it's at right now is next week, Tony Ackles is going to have some rough numbers and some kind of a maybe a little diagram to what it will look like. So maybe at the next meeting we can bring that to everybody and have a look at it, see what you think. It's nothing grand-normous. It's just we're trying to find a place for people to be able to sit up there and enjoy the river and take the spot over here away. So just hopefully be able to have that for the next meeting. So that's the update I have on that. Thank you. That's all I've got. We'll go to board reports. Streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Cook.
No report on that, Mayor.
Okay. Finance, Tony, I didn't hear back. Parks and playgrounds, Mr. Seymour.
The only question I would have would be the racetrack problem on the poles. Did we go check that out yet?
We've got a private contractor meeting with Dave over there, trying to correct that problem.
Okay, and then do we have a good update on our Hollywood Boulevard?
Bases, adapters, hopefully be done next week.
Okay.
Or at least the start of them anyway.
All right.
I know that Hollywood's having their grand opening of the sports book betting on the 7th.
Fifth.
Fifth, I think it is.
Fifth. Well, the celebration starts the 5th. I'm not sure that.
Oh, that's when their people are coming into.
You're right about.
They're coming into town on the 5th. You're right. And the 7th, I think, is their opening. I'm sorry. I think they're going to start taking bets on the 1st, though. But see you over, Judge. But I don't know if Pete Rose is going to be there or not, Mel. So I didn't say that.
We kind of got that on a priority, don't we?
Yes, it's supposed to. Yeah, I talked to Kim. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else under playgrounds? Fire, Randy?
No report, Mayor.
Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. And then also on 8/5, we had a work session. I'd like to get those meeting minutes approved as well. Need a motion. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
No report.
Dr. Air just stayed in the room, guys. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. I gave a copy to all the council just to let them know on our hiring process. We started with 26 applicants. We're down to 8 now. We are down now to our formal interviews. It's going to take just a few more weeks to hire someone. And the other thing is we've been doing our officer fill program we do every year for the schools. We did one for St. Lawrence on Tuesday, and then we did one for the primary school yesterday, and then we have one tomorrow at Central School. And it's a really, really good program that we do for the kids. They come down, they do a really good job. So that's what we've been doing, just kind of out in the community.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Chief, can you talk just briefly about the reserves now that we're back in school?
The school resource officers?
The school resource officers and how how we have one at each school and just how that's going now that we're
Absolutely,
back in
thank you. Yeah, we of course have each resource officer at each school doing very, very well. I talked to them just last week. when I approached them on the officer field, they're the ones that goes in and does this now instead of Brian Potts and myself the resource officers go in and does this. But they really enjoy what they're doing. And I know the staff and the administration from the schools enjoy and feel more secure that the resource officers are there. And it's a very needed thing. Just as we heard, I think it happened yesterday or day before in Conner High School, what happened there. There was some guy that came from Las Vegas for a girl. And I know there was another student that intercepted that person from getting in the building, but they went and got the school resource officer and handled the situation, found the guy later. Very important to have school resource officers in our schools, and we're lucky enough to have 3 of them, or 4 of them actually, in each of our schools.
Yeah, having one in each school is unusual. I think we're a blessed city to have that.
Very much, yes.
Okay. All right, anything else, Chief?
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
EMS Director Rick Clark?
Nothing to report. Thanks.
City Court Judge Joe Johns?
Thank you, Mayor. The city of Lawrenceburg had 278 cases filed in the month of July. Our final accounting puts that at $34,860 collected by the city of Lawrenceburg City Court and distributed. That brings us to a year-to-date total of 1,909 cases with a total amount of judgments collected in the amount of $269,260.80. I wanted to speak additionally. Our court is now, starting on October 4th, will be a e-filing court, which is an initiative pushed by the Indiana Supreme Court. So the court has voluntarily enrolled itself into this program. It's at no cost to the city. And really what it does is it just makes everything more accessible to self-represented defendants, which we have the majority of defendants through our court are self-represented. And it makes it easier for attorneys who are practicing throughout the state to operate within our court. So it's just going to increase our transparency and make all the case filings public. Also, as far as the city court's outreach goals, we've set a lot of goals for ourselves in the last 2 years of trying to work with smaller municipalities throughout the county so that they can use the court for their hearing authority on ordinance violations. The city of West Harrison has just voted to designate the court as its unsafe hearing authority. We have an interlocal with them right now. However, they did not pass the necessary ordinance for the court to hear its unsafe buildings. It's recently done that. So we'll start hearing those cases for West Harrison. And I believe the city or the town of Morris Hill has just approved the city to be its hearing authority on all ordinance violations, and I believe they forwarded an interlocal agreement to Mr. Weldon. So we're just trying to extend the court's resources, which we've got the infrastructure, we've got the staff to do it. We're trying to assist these smaller communities that are having a very hard time enforcing and policing their ordinances just for lack of the available funds to operate at their own court. So we're extending them those services, and I think it's really working out. We're seeing a lot of positive reactions.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Any questions?
In addition to Morris Hill, Judge is right, we have a proposed agreement with them. We also, by virtue of some of the law changes in July, the cities in the county are now have their building inspectors serve as kind of backups for each other. And also for the unincorporated areas, our building department will cover services there where we have existing utilities. So that's kind of a new development, and you'll hear more about that in the future.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Okay. New business.
I do have an announcement.
Sorry.
We need to change resolution number 21-2019. That was the vacation of property that had been passed at a previous meeting. That should be resolution 5-2019. Also, resolution 22-2019, the transfer for real estate, resolution 6-2019 will be that number. So we just wanted to make an announcement for the record on that.
Okay. Those are the ones that I guessed at.
Yes.
I didn't do a very
And
good
you did a
job.
pretty good job. I mean, you took it pretty far out.
I
so
got the 2019
You were safe.
right. I got the 2019
You did.
right.
Good.
All right. All right, new business, Brandon Lorton, couldn't be here. You gonna talk for that?
Thank you. I'm Mooch Calloway. I can't speak for the Lawrenceburg Hill Run, but I'd like to thank the city. I run the Lauren Hill golf outing, and we haven't got the final tally in on this particular year, but as of, this is our 5th year, and we've raised roughly close to $50,000, running a golf outing in the last 5 years. But as far as the Lawrenceburg Hill Run, I'm sure that Brandon is so very thankful for what the city has done for, Lauren Hill and her fight for the cure. So I just want to speak on behalf of myself and Brandon if he doesn't make it to the next meeting or something. Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay. Was Greg supposed to be here? Anybody? No? Did you guys? Fats, oils, grease interceptor ordinance?
See no reason. I think either Owen or him should be here, so if you want, I'd
Table it?
say to table it until the next meeting.
Okay, can I get a motion to,
Pressing matters.
I'll make a motion, we table that.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. One voice, Greg Disbro.
Hi, I've never done this before, so I have no clue what I'm doing, just to be honest. I'm here for the recovery walk, the overdose and awareness walk on August 31st. I've spoken to Chief Combs for the escort. I'm not sure what else I need to do.
That's probably about it. We were just, every year they do this walk.
Yeah.
And you're just really here to acknowledge that it's gonna happen again, and they're gonna approve that, okay, to walk down the street like you guys do and do your thing. I participate every year. I know Chief Combs does.
They're gonna start at the Adult Center, walk up, take the Walnut to probably the Civic Center,
Yes.
and we'll get you there safe.
I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Any questions about this, guys?
No.
Can I get a motion to approve the overdose awareness walk?
So move.
It's the 31st, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I got down. 4 o'clock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You did fine.
Your Honor, the governor just announced that opioid overdoses are down 13% in this last year. I know that the city of Lawrenceburg has a number of initiatives that are going on now, and One Voice has always been a great presence, so that's encouraging to see that progress.
We also have something coming up Monday, at Interact for Health. Governor's office from Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio is going to be there and speak, and myself and Rick is going to go up there.
Good. Good. A lot of efforts in that arena. Bill Kreider is not here tonight, so I believe you guys heard this at the USB, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was presented at USB. Okay. Well, can I get a vote to table that?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. The other one thing is from the Board of Works meeting. We need to get a motion to approve the IAM pension percentage, the 5% penalty, which will be an overage. So I need to get a motion to approve that.
Make a motion, we approve that.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I don't know of any other new business.
Mayor, I got one
Yes.
thing.
Yes, sir.
I was contacted by one of our business people in here, get local businesses, and some issues with some subpoenas, I believe it was, wasn't it, Mrs. Rainey? And she was wanting to know what some deals are with some subpoenas they got. Should maybe our attorney talk to her after the meeting and try to deal with that further? Or, 'cause I know you only
Yeah.
address some of that out in a public meeting.
I
I guess some of your employee, or some of your customers were dealing with that, am I
Yeah,
right?
actually, I stopped at the courthouse today, and they aren't a valid
Okay,
subpoena.
so maybe you could talk to, explain what you told me and see what you could come up with our attorney, okay?
So they're not valid?
Pardon me?
They're not valid?
No, no. And actually, they asked
Very
if
interesting,
anybody else
isn't it?
had them to turn them in.
I've gotten quite a few calls, but I didn't get one.
I just wanted to make sure.
I gotten quite a few calls.
Get our legal opinion.
Yeah, I think everybody knows what's going on, and it's not worth commenting on.
Okay, that's cool. If you got any other questions, you can talk to him.
Just another day.
Interesting.
It is.
Okay. Old business, Mike Clark, Tanner's Creek silt survey and permitting.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I just want to update everyone. I know you guys were aware in the past, we had Utter Construction get their boat, and they sounded the creek. I think the last time is I'd gotten it, but I hadn't had a chance to open it and go through it. Got some major holes in that survey. The problem is, the water was too shallow for them to be able to use that boat and to sound it. So Utter and John Johnson are kind of working through this thing to come up so we get a good contour of the amount of silt that is in the boat ramp, especially the one to the east that we had to pull and shut down. Also, we have been in contact with IDNR and the Corps on doing maintenance dredging, not a full-fledged like we did the last time. And they say we do need to get a permit, but this will be a maintenance permit that'll be good for like 10 years, where we could take, if necessary, up to 500 cubic yards of silt material out to open certain areas up. Like I say, we've been in contact back and forth. We're just waiting on receiving the report. As soon as I get that, or the permit, I would like to go ahead and take some quotes on getting that done so we can get the other one opened back up. But
Can we see the overlay before we make that decision?
absolutely.
All right.
Information on the permit we received.
Oh, and we also did receive our permit yesterday for the, from IDNR for the work around the trail bridge.
Okay.
So, not that we're doing anything with the bridge yet, but we went ahead, we already started the process, and we did receive the permit to go in to grub and clean up around it to be able to access the bridge if we choose to do so.
Got it. Okay. As soon as you get the report, then we'll get a copy of that, the overlay.
Yeah, and like I say, I don't have it, we're working on it as we speak. But I will have that done, hopefully for the next meeting, whether we have the permit back from the entities or not. But yeah, I'll try to have that at the next meeting in your packets.
Okay. All right. Any other old business?
I got some, it's not old business, but since I missed the first part of the meeting, the Monday or Tuesday, I spoke with you about the weeds in the alley between Arch and St. Clair.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm like in between arguments between our city supervisor and ordinance enforcer on whose job it was to cut them. And now I'm hearing it's the electric department's job to cut them. But the ordinance officer said he spoke with our city attorney, and our city attorney said that we are allowed to go back into the yard and cut the weeds. So if we are, I would like to send the city over there to cut these weeds down, because the woman cannot back out of her driveway in her alley. She can't see nothing.
I have a meeting with those two folks tomorrow morning at 8:30. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna get resolution on that. once again, this is a property dispute, it sounds like.
Well, according to Dale, now that's what I was told by our ordinance officer, we're allowed to go in and cut it down.
Well, that may be true, but what I'm saying though.
And that neighbor will probably let us in there. Nobody's ever asked her. So I don't think there's a problem there. It's just who's going to do it.
I agree, but the only thing I'm saying, Tony, let me talk to him first thing tomorrow morning. Nothing's gonna get done tonight.
Okay.
Let me talk to him first thing in the morning.
All right.
Because I wanted to hear both sides of that as well. But the thing that I'm trying to get across is, if it's not the responsibility of the utility department, because it's not impeding in wires.
They're not in the wires yet.
Right.
A foot from them.
And it's not impeding in the alley now, because I think those were cut back because I drove down there.
Yeah.
But it's a dispute between two property owners. Okay? Yeah, we might have the authority to go in and cut them down or ask for that authority, but we really need to be careful, because you're gonna have a problem with your neighbor, or you're gonna have a problem with your neighbor, and you're gonna say, well, you need to go in and cut that tree down because you cut all these bushes down for this guy.
I don't think there's a problem between the neighbors. I
Okay.
don't think that neighbor is able to get them cut down.
Okay.
So I'm
And
sure
we're-
she'll say that, yeah, go ahead and cut everything.
Okay, all right, I just want to let you know, I got a meeting at 8:30 tomorrow morning
Okay,
about it.
that's fine, get that.
Yep.
From Acapulco's. And along that same line, they're saying that they got a lot of speeders still in that alley. And want to know if we could put a sign up, children at play. We already have a speed hump there.
I live in that alley, and it's a big problem.
Speedy?
I don't know that, well, when you get down around the restaurant, I think the restaurant's great, all of us eat there. But those people park in that parking lot, and they'll come across that alley, they won't stop. I think we need more than children to play. I think I've almost had a couple wrecks there. I know when I go down and visit Connie and Mike, the people think it's a street almost. When they pull out of there and they leave, they're driving that alley just like it would be a street. And I don't know what you can do about it. It is a really, really used alley because of that restaurant.
Do you think a second speed hump would help?
Connie,
We got the same problem at her place too. We need another one.
It's all the way down to the round park at Center Street, all the way up to the BP station. I mean, that's how bad it is. I don't know if we wouldn't, is it illegal, Mike, to put stop signs in parking lots of restaurants and alleys? I don't know.
You probably couldn't get it enforced. It'd be very hard to enforce them.
What if you made it one way from the, do not enter from that parking lot going towards Satch's, what is it?
Yeah, and then when you go down to the other end of the alley, I mean, we got a lot of youngins down there. And when they come down through there, I mean, we got the young kids on little tricycles and remote control cars and everything, and it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
I really don't know what to do other than some really good stiff signage. Maybe another bump, maybe.
At the beginning of the alley?
Well, I'd like somebody to go talk to Mike and Connie, cause they're out there watching it every night.
Yep.
Little kids across the alley from us, and 3 and 4 years old, they're in the alley. A car come down that alley and not even see them, and
Right. I get it.
And we've actually witnessed cars not even stopping at Tate Street.
Yeah.
They'll just drive right on through the Tate Street part and head right on up toward the restaurant without even hesitating.
Well, I can get with Mike and Mario, and we can see, what signs would be enforceable, give you guys some options, and then bring it back for you to decide. And I'll
Well,
work
don't-
on the weeds issue too.
Don't
with
throw
Carl.
out the second speed bump, because I think that'd work best down at her place, because the other one's farther down the alley.
We probably have some more temporaries we can put out.
Yeah, maybe,
if we had
maybe do that.
One of your guys, if we're not busy, kind of go over and check that area out too, Donnie.
Yep. Let us get together
Have a
and
police
see,
car over
we'll
there, though,
come
they
up
won't
with a
speed.
plan to
Slow
bring
down,
back to you guys, see what you think.
Nothing
All right.
but car over there.
Ice in the alley, how, I mean,
Pass.
yes. It's a street, it's a nice alley, and
Yeah.
it's more like a street than an
Too
alley.
nice.
We have two nice alleys.
We've probably got some temporaries we can put down by Connie's place. to see
Why don't
if
we
that
do
slows
that?
it down.
Why don't we do that initially? Let's at least do that to get it started. That doesn't take anything, and we got it there, so.
Once you put two of them, say, 1 foot apart, would you start down through there, so they can't get out of speed, you know, one speed up, they'll take off, just put them kind of close, and that should deter them from taking off.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you know, we need to try something with the temporaries like that. See what we can do. Good idea.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Since you guys have got off the subject a little bit about bushes and trees and alleys, you know where I live on Center. In the back behind me is, and this isn't a campaign thing or anything, there's a new people that bought the Joneses' house where Clarence died. And they have a he's 4 years old, just had his birthday party. And Mr. Jones had a handicap ramp that came off of his porch and it dumped into the alley, the handicap. So if he was in a wheelchair, somebody pushed him down and they held him. So their little 4-year-old runs down that ramp, and the house is right on the edge of the alley, the first house behind me. So he's out in the alley before they know it, you know, kind of thing. Is there any way we could paint something on the alley, you know, like child warning kind of thing, slow down? Or is that out of line? It's just I have this premonition that I don't say anything and he gets hit, you know, because there's a lot of traffic in that alley. Because they scoot across the back of there to get over to, you know, Elm Street. And
Where are you talking about, Maureen?
Yes,
it's that handicap ramp, Mark.
the cross alley there,
Yeah, and he's a little bitty guy, and he's 80 miles an hour when he, you know, yeah, no.
You know if the,
I just feel horrible something.
ramp is encroaching on the city right away? If it is, you can remove.
No, it's barely behind the house. I don't want to go after them for anything. You know, maybe the best thing is to take the ramp off, you know. But, I mean, I can't tell them to do that. I'm just worried that the kid gets hit or something. And they're good people, but still a 4-year-old, you know, I mean, wow.
We take a look at that.
Just take a look at it. You guys make a decision, whatever. It'd be fine with me.
Since we're talking about Tanner's Creek silt survey and permitting. Anyway, anything else?
I
under
just
old
seen
business?
Mr. Nieberger's out there right now, if you want to revisit that or not.
I already tabled it, but we can if we want to.
Hey, I got one more thing under old business, while you decide on that, if you want me to.
Go ahead.
I gave everybody else one. As you guys can see from the paper that I passed out, Steve Linkmeyer's contacted me over the past week. He's trying to get a settlement on the storage units. I guess he's called Richard for the payoff amounts. I'm not sure what it is. I know it's 100 and something. I don't know what it's up to now.
I can give an accounting of that for you.
Okay.
As of May 1st, 2019, the outstanding principal on it was $115,159.77. The total with interest and penalties that he would currently need to pay to officially pay it off would be $135,640.56.
Okay. He's willing to settle it for, as the letter states, for $80,000. He said he can have that within 7 days. I'm usually against this kind of stuff. I want to bring it to the board because We've had the other dealings with them on the other property, and yeah, we won in court. I mean, it cost us, I don't know, how much you think that cost us, that case, Dell, altogether for those years?
That he cost us?
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
city.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, at least $100,000 over 3 or 4 years. Or maybe hundreds, I don't know, but at least 100.
Well, and that's what you need to add to this payoff. Is
Okay.
everything that we've had to spend up to this point.
I'm not asking any legal advice right now. I was just asking if you knew the total. But it would save the city, I mean, $100,000, and we might not get anything back just like we did on the other case. I mean, if you guys want to vote on it now or next week, I just don't want to bring it before the board and give you guys the opportunity to see what you want to do.
How much is the rent, Rich, for these storage places?
I think
Monthly
it's
rent?
supposed to, I think it brings in approximately like $1,400 a month.
$1,400 a month? And the guy administering it,
Yeah, we have to pay
receiver,
him.
he gets $700.
I think
Right.
that's right.
To a certain threshold, if you look at the actual court-ordered piece that was signed, the minimum that he would get would be that amount, but it could be excess of that.
Okay, so we're really not making that. There's no money going into that account. There's only $3,000, and it's been going on for how long?
As of
Seems
May
me-
21st, the revenues on that was $3,084.63.
So why is that so low? If we're getting $700 a month in the bank, if it's $1,400, he gets $700. The escrow or whatever you want to call it gets $700, and this been going on for a while. Why is there only $3,000 in that account?
Are we sure there's $1,400 in income?
I think that's the potential revenue
That's
for
the
it. You'd
potential.
have to go back and.
It may not be all rented.
Or they rent it.
That's where that $700 threshold comes in. If they're not all rented, then obviously it's not bringing in that amount of revenue. So that's where that comes into play. If the percentage is more than a certain amount, he would make more than $750 per month. But as the percentage is where it's at, he only gets the $750.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do with this tonight. I mean, I'm willing to settle. I'm like Aaron. I like to wipe it off the books, get rid of it. But if not, I would like for you to show me on the graph how much rent is possible, how much art is rented. If there's 8 units and they're only renting 2, why are they only renting 2? Because he's supposed to be getting those out there rented also. And storage units rent pretty darn easily. I don't know why all of them are not filled.
Okay, I can get that for you.
What's everybody think of this idea? How about let's get that information? And how about, I don't wanna make a decision or a vote unless Mr. Linkmeyer's here with a check 7 days from now. If he can have that, I want him coming, I want him bringing a check, because I don't wanna vote on anything unless I know it's gonna happen.
I don't think he's able to bring the check to the meeting, Paul. Go ahead.
Right here, that there'll be, if accepted, I will wire the funds to the city within 7 days of acceptance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
within
because
7
I
days.
asked him about it, because, you know, like the last case, when we went through all these years and $100,000 of thing, and we won all the court cases, don't get me wrong, we won the appeals, but we still have nothing, you know, I mean, the property's not worth $3 million or anything. I don't know what this appraised for, and we can put all the liens we want against Mr. Linkmeyer. I asked him how he's gonna pay for this, he's gonna borrow it from somebody, and it's not his partner in the other lawsuits either, it's somebody else.
I'm all for settling too. I just, 2 months ago, I heard the number of 100, well, it was more than this. And I think Tony, he told me and you both more than this.
I don't remember what the number was, honest.
I think it was in the 120 to 130 range. He wanted to settle it, now it's 80. I'd like to have a meeting with him, and I'd like to scratch it off my list too, believe me. But I think we need the facts in front of us, how much the receivership has, all the numbers, what it brings in, and the man that wants to deal with this here. Now, I don't know whether it's legal to have him here in a public meeting, or if we needed something more private. I'm willing to do it in a regular meeting, that's up to him.
I don't think he cares if it's in a regular meeting, if it's up to him, because he told me to pass out this thing tonight for, that's what he's willing to offer, so, I mean, he made it public.
But you really, I should have signed it.
Yeah.
Instead of typing it. I mean, you didn't type this for him, right?
I didn't type it down. No, he emailed it to me.
Okay.
I like the idea of getting this thing settled.
information?
Yeah, I'll let him know. The next council meeting, that'd be about a week and a half away anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
September 3rd.
Okay, yeah.
Labor Day is the 2nd, I believe.
All right, I'll let him know.
Okay. Any other old business?
Oh, I'd like to bring up one other thing. You know, the shooting and concepts, that you guys already talked about in the first part. So you're setting up a procedure to notify everybody, because the pool wasn't notified. I don't know if the community center was notified, but we need somebody to notify where kids could be in danger.
Yeah, we're working on
Alrighty.
a plan.
Okay, good.
Because, yeah, the school needs a contact person to call and all that.
Yep.
Nope, you're right.
They got their stuff canceled pretty quickly over there.
Yeah, yeah, my goodness. There's just pins and needles for people. A lot of phone calls. Anyway, any other old business?
Your Honor.
Yes, you want to go back and revisit?
Yeah, it should have been under old business, under new business. It should have been under old business brought forward by the USB, and I'll turn the time over to Greg.
Good evening. First of all, I apologize. Probably my mistake on the start time, and I was in there working with Olin on a sewer issue. So, number one, your guys' time is the most precious, and I apologize if I've wasted any of it. So I'll be brief. I presented to you, it should be in your packet, a proposed ordinance to Chapter 52 that talks about the fats, oils, and greases. This is the same ordinance that was presented to you in June as the USB. So it's now before you for official reading and vote this evening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm here at your disposal.
I got one question, and I think I know the answer, but so anyone that is currently doing business with us within the city limits is not grandfathered?
That's correct.
So they're gonna have to go through an expense of if they don't have a 2,000 gallon?
Minimum 1,000.
Minimum 1,000. If they say they have a 200 gallon grease trap or whatever that number is, it'll be at their expense to get it upgraded?
If they're required to do so.
Why wouldn't they be required if it's in the ordinance?
Let's do it this way. One, the easy route is very simple. If you look at section C and E6, they can come and apply to the joint building department if they don't believe they should be required to do so. And then those two individuals can make a decision on whether or not they need to do so, and they could be exempted from the ordinance. Those are the people that have special expertise to be able to make that decision.
Who
and
is
if
that?
That would be the utility director and the building commissioner, I believe. And if that decision is not favorable or citizen does not agree with that decision, they then get the option to appeal it to you. Well, sorry, strike that. They get the right to appeal it to the Utility Service Board. And that's section H, appeal to the USB. So there's a number of built-in protections for those who believe that it creates a hardship or shouldn't be necessary. And then that is left to the discretion of city officials who have expertise in that matter.
This joint building department, why only 2 people? Because what if they're split?
Well, then for example, if you brought the decision to the joint building department and it was a 1-1 tie, and so you don't get approval, you simply appeal it and you bring it to the Utility Service Board, and you're going to get a vote of the majority Utility Service Board. So that's the protections that are built in. If a citizen's not happy with the result, we baked in the idea you get to come to the elected officials on the Utility Service Board to have that ultimate decision made.
And I will say, we've got an extensive list of the businesses in town that have these types of grease traps, grease interceptors installed. And I think everybody would be surprised. I think I've read off that list on occasion to this council. They all have them. I mean, this isn't a new thing that we just started. Businesses that have been here doing business in Lawrenceburg for many, many years have these installations in place, because this has been pretty common for a long time. I think what this addresses is we have a couple customers who have small units under the sink who have not complied with the maintenance demands of their system, which has in turn caused issues for, I'll give you an example, Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness had extensive remediation that had to take place in order for them to come in and do business with the city of Lawrenceburg. Prior to Planet Fitness, our own crews went in and did approximately $7,600 worth of work to clean out the same manhole associated with this one person that has a 200-gallon or 50-gallon under the sink grease interceptor. So in cases where people aren't clearly doing the maintenance that's required to have that exception, they're going to have to shore that up. To not shore it up causes everybody a headache, and it causes us the potential of not being able to appreciate businesses like Planet Fitness coming in.
Then how did a person like that, if they don't have an adequate one right now, how did they get a C of A?
Well, it's adequate if they maintain it on a daily basis like they're supposed to.
Okay.
So if they go in every day and do the things that they said they would do to
Right.
get the exception,
Okay.
there's no problem.
So they had an exception? Is
They
that
had an
what you're saying?
exception. They had the 50-gallon under the sink unit. They were supposed to go in every day and clean it out and do the steps that are required to have that, that provision. And clearly they're not.
Since they've got, I mean, instead of inquiring or incurring all that extra cost now, what if they would agree to do that?
If they would agree to do that and actually comply with it, you wouldn't see any argument out of me.
Got it.
Your Honor, a lot of the cities that I built in.
Sure.
You had to present proof that you maintained your system on a
This is new to
quarterly
me,
or,
so.
a grease trap can actually go bad in a matter of months in a busy restaurant.
Got it.
It doesn't do the job after a short period of time.
Okay.
What it turns into, quite frankly, is a situation where we are regulators, meaning Andy or one of the guys has to go to the business every day or every week at least and verify that they are in fact in compliance. We currently don't do that. We just take them at their word that they'll do that. But if the problem persists, one of the avenues is that we'll take on the additional work. We'll send somebody to the business, verify they're doing it, check it off, and come back the next week.
Why, I got a question for Greg. Why wouldn't we as a city have a list of all our grease traps and we require all the people that own them to bring to us proof that they have maintained them on a quarterly, instead of us putting all the labor in it, why don't we put the effort on their part? Is that in this ordinance? Is that something that could be put in to the point to where we wasn't spending all the labor on it and we would have record of it?
Yeah, it's not in this ordinance. You could add something like that, but I think you might be flooded by the paper and the issues. I think now when your folks are out there, I mean, the easiest way to identify these problems is exactly how you've seen them before, right? Where your crews are out there, you've seen a problem, you had to go out there and clean it, that sort of thing. I think this gives you the opportunity to police it. You could come up with a reporting requirement. I think that you end up having some problems in a municipality of this size, getting compliance with the reporting requirement, and then you end up facing more time trying to chase people for not reporting. You can go ahead and bake one in if you want. I just think you're going to end up having more heartache on the back end than what you have now. You guys just don't have you don't have the size to police everything. You just don't. And you don't have the size to be able to, I think, deal with the volume of reporting that would be required if you implemented that sort of problem. I mean, if you want to put more money into it, you could. I just don't think you're built in a way to be able to handle that.
I mean, we're either putting the labor hours or chasing it down or the computer and getting someone. I mean, this, it's way beyond me how simple some of these tasks are for people to make up charts and keep track of things. And I know that if we get them maintaining their grease traps, we have big sewer problems. It causes us problems over at the plant too.
It does.
So, yeah.
So if we get ahead of it, we're saving in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you that there's a number of businesses on 50 that have done remodels or additions, things like this. And we don't even have to talk to them about this. When they submit the plans to us, they have already included grease interceptors that are 2,500 gallons. They've done it on their own, and the reason they're doing that is because they've done business in other areas. Pizza Hut, for example. They've done enough business across the United States to know that there's a grease interceptor that's appropriate. I don't even have to talk to them about a 1,000-gallon minimum. When they submit their plans, there's a 2,500-gallon grease interceptor in the plans they're willingly going to comply with. The new car parts place, same kind of thing. They've all taken this into consideration. It's in their plans. They're planning on doing it. I don't have to lecture them about it. They just know it's how you run a business.
Right now, the other protection that you do have is they are required to maintain logs that are available for inspection. So all their cleaning and maintenance, you're supposed to have a log.
Any other questions on this ordinance?
No, I think it's a good ordinance, Your Honor. I could relay a personal experience that happened when I was utility director, but I don't want to
Incriminate anyone?
I don't want to impugn the restaurant.
Yeah, the only thing, Mayor, is that, oh, go ahead, sorry.
My question is, how does it affect, he got to it like earlier, the small businesses, say Lanny's, is she in compliance with this, or does she have to come into compliance, or?
So when we deal with small businesses like Captain's Tavern or Lanny's, they're not doing any kind of cooking there that would require them to have a grease trap.
Lanny's does. Cummins?
Well, if
Cummins
she does, then it is different than what's been related to us in their official declaration. They've stated to us that all the food that's being cooked has been prepared off-site, if it's fried or so forth.
May very well be then.
Yeah, and that they're putting the sandwiches and stuff together when they bring them in. Just like Captain's Tavern, we had some complaints about Captain's Tavern saying they were grilling hamburgers. I personally went up there. They were bringing in pre-cooked hamburgers, warming them up in a microwave oven or a toaster oven, putting the burgers together and selling them. They weren't actually cooking them on site. And so they're in compliance. When we checked with the county inspector, they were in compliance both with our local ordinance and the county's position.
Okay, I just didn't want to put a big monetary burden on these little guys.
Well, I think that's the value of having an appeal process so that businesses can come in and we can make independent decisions. I think this is a good ordinance. It's in line with what other cities do, and we still have that opportunity if a small business feels they need an exception to review that. So I agree. Making sure our small businesses succeed is one of our biggest goals as a city.
I'll leave it to you whether, how you want to do reading and motions and waiving, because I don't know how you guys have handled your past ordinances, so I just request that you handle it however you've handled your past readings and waivers.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 11-2019, which is an amendment to Title V, Chapter 52 of the Lawrenceburg Code of Ordinances. I'll entertain a motion to approve this on the first reading as long as it's unanimous.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Any other old business, Tony?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right. Comments from the audience? Yes, sir. Spoken an awful lot tonight, you know that?
This is kind of for Mario. The other day I went past the new park over there, and when I pulled up to the stop sign, I made a left-hand turn, and my truck jumped like crazy, and I thought, what the heck did I just run over? I thought I run over somebody. But what it is that speed bump that's there, there's a solid stripe that goes right in with the crosswalk, and the black on the outside of it matches up perfectly with the new blacktop that's there. And if somebody on a motorcycle has eyes like me, they're not even gonna see that thing. They're gonna think it's just part of the crosswalk, and they're gonna dump that motorcycle. So
Where the sidewalk, where the asphalt and the sidewalk meet?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna suggest that maybe, like the one over here that'll turn your truck over by the little school thing over here, going down Lake Street. Put some stripes across it to where people can actually see that it's there.
The one is actually a trough for the electric. That's not a speed bump, it's actually the trough what they're using to run the electric, across the street with. It's not there today. if
Yeah,
you go
I know, I went back later and it was gone. I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
Yeah, it was a temporary.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Use it
still,
for-
I mean, I think there needs to be something to where you can actually see that it is there, because that thing blended in
When we
perfect.
put it out, you mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't, it's not out
Correct.
all the time.
Right.
It was a temporary.
I say that,
for one of the
it's probably
events.
there now for tonight's,
Music on the River.
music, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also cautioned off there over there right now, but.
Yeah.
Or bollard out, whatever.
So it needs to be removed right after, or
Well, do we need to
next
do
morning.
some additional coning off or something so people are aware of it?
Yeah, for that short time that it's gonna be there when we're
Yeah,
not.
I mean, I swear, I thought I run over somebody. I didn't know what. the
We
hell.
don't want you to do that.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
All right.
There is one more thing I wanted to bring up, Your Honor.
You're not the audience.
Well, you want me to sit out there?
Go ahead.
Miss LaRose over here, I see they were getting a new sidewalk.
We replaced that sidewalk, not
Okay.
for Miss LaRosa.
The other day, I had my new grandbaby, push her in a stroller down Short Street, and I've never really noticed it before, but our sidewalks are getting in bad shape, especially on the
Due to the
300.
trees.
Not all trees now, damn it. Dang it. I mean, but
Always on Short Street.
This is on Short Street, yeah. The 300 block is really bad. So I'm wondering, is it the same way all around town? I mean, we got some really bad sidewalks. Should we start a sidewalk program to start getting on them, or?
Matter of fact, we had in staff last week, we brought up about the tree rings, from the trees.
A lot of dangerous tree rings out there
And
right
also,
now because there's no trees in them.
Yeah.
There's holes.
Well, no, you're right. No, you're correct. We're
If
talking
there's a
about filling
tree in
those
them, they'd be fine.
Because there were trees.
But actually, you'll see where it's painted orange here lately. Those are 2 inches and above where the trees have actually raised on Short Street and on Elm Street too.
You guys are working on that?
We are trying to get them taken care of, yes.
All right. 'Cause
On the
sidewalks
subject
getting
of
bad.
trees, in September, we have our first meeting with Tree Line USA to start talking about the planting of trees under the measure that was approved by Utility Service Board through the Arbor Day Foundation. So September, we meet with the USDA Extension Office and Tree Line USA to start talking about the types of trees and where we'll plant those trees in the downtown landscape.
We have an approved tree list from IDNR and our tree specialist, Olin. I'll try to provide you with that.
Okay, so I think it's probably important that we hook those two groups up so they can talk about it.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Audience, anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Aaron got that one. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thanks, everyone. Go enjoy music on the river.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Great.